Hi, I'm Tyler Braun. I'm here in Scottsdale, Arizona with William Lee. So tell me a little bit about yourself, William. What do you do?
Well, thanks, Tyler. I am a financial advisor. I work for Registered Investment Advisory here in Scottsdale, Ironwood Investment Council. We manage stocks, bonds, and do financial planning for primarily individuals here in the Scottsdale, Arizona area.
Great. So what does that mean for you? Like, what would you say you spend most of your day-to-day doing?
It's a great question. It's twofold. I spend a portion of my day doing research on investment, so what types of securities we should be buying for our clients, and then the broader portion of my day is interacting with clients, trying to help them reach their specific goals. That could be planning for retirement, sending their kids to college and how they're going to finance that, how they're going to live out their later years, and things of that nature.
So let's rewind a little bit. Where are you from, William?
So I am a proud fourth-generation Arizonan.
There you go.
Great-great-great-grandparents moved here in 1872, and my parents met up at NAU, and I was born in Sedona.
Wow, fourth generation.
Yes.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard that from somebody. Usually when I tell people that I was born here, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that happened."
Yeah, it's all the Midwesterners that move here think that it's only implants, but there's a few of us that are here for a few generations. There's actually a group that meets monthly called First Family. So anyone that was their family settled here before Arizona was a state, so before 1912.
Really?
You're eligible to be part of that group, which is kind of fun.
Wow, and it's called First Families?
Yeah,
that's
First
really
Families
interesting.
of Arizona.
Do you have any cool stories about your first relatives who settled here?
I wish I did. My grandparents have some cool pictures of downtown Phoenix. I don't know, like right by the Sun Stadium is a horse and carriage.
Oh, no.
But I just never got a lot of the backstory. But yeah, it's kind of cool seeing some of the old photos.
Oh, that is really cool. First Families, I'll have to look that up on, I don't know, the internet,
Yeah.
Facebook or something. When did you first know that you wanted to do what you do now, financial planning and advising?
I was a freshman at ASU, and well, first it started not so much that I was going to be a financial advisor, but I left the engineering school because I looked to my left, looked to my right, not a female in sight. I said engineering school was not for me, so I hightailed it to business school, and decided I'd pursue finance. Earlier in my life, my father was in a plane accident.
Oh, okay.
He's okay,
I'm
but
sorry
there was some.
to hear that.
Yeah, no, well, it's okay. But through that process, there was some money awarded, and I got to learn about investing at a fairly young age, and I always thought that was cool. So, and during that process, I started investing in the late '90s. So I kind of lost all of my college fund going into the .com bubble. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So I ended up going into financial planning or advisory, partly because of my experience of having enough money to go through school, but not having enough money to actually pay for school.
I see.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I can relate to clients now that are feeling frustrated with the ups and downs in the markets because I've been there.
Right. That actually is really interesting. You got to learn about it firsthand.
Yeah.
Okay.
My father loves to tell me that education's not cheap, and that was an expensive lesson.
Yeah.
To having all your money in stocks right when you're about to start spending it.
Yeah, geez. And then you hit that .com bubble, and is that when things went sour?
So I'm selling, writing checks to ASU, selling, writing checks to ASU, selling, and then as it's recovering, I have no more money to recover. So.
Oh, damn, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So wrong place, wrong time, and now you help people make sure they avoid that same mistake.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my experiences and kind of philosophies or how we help people plan is to make sure that those types of scenarios don't happen, because you don't get to choose when you're going to start college. It shouldn't matter when you start. It's if you have the right strategy in place, then those things don't don't matter as much.
I see what you're saying. Do you mind if I ask about your dad's plane crash just for interest?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can expand on that a little bit, but that's really why I got into financial planning, is because I started with enough money to pay for ASU for 4 years plus a down payment on the house, and in my 7th semester I was broke for no fault of my own, and just I didn't have the right strategy for what I was trying to accomplish. The strategy was about here's a young kid, he's got his whole life ahead of him, he should be pretty aggressive, but they didn't take into account that, hey, he's going to spend most of this money in the next few years, so he probably shouldn't be super aggressive.
Right.
But my dad's plane crash, he was a private pilot. He used to fly out of Scottsdale just across the street. They did charters to Mexico, and there was a known faulty clamp on the engine. So that clamp broke when they were coming, they had just landed in Tucson to check customs.
Okay, wow.
Clamp broke, engine's on fire. They had to make an emergency landing across the street in like an empty field.
Jeez.
And in that process, he broke his back and had quite a bit of damage from that.
Oh.
Still can walk, he's alive. Most people don't know there's a whole lot wrong with him, but yeah. But he was the only one hurt also.
Well, it's not as bad as it could have gone. It sounds
Definitely
like.
could have went worse. It stinks that it happened, and there's quite a bit of internal damage that he has to deal with and pain. But like I said, he's been a trooper. 99% of the people have no idea that there's anything wrong.
Well, wow, that's pretty impressive on his part.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah.
So
Back to your original start in finance.
Mm-hmm.
So let's fast forward to say after you got your master's degree.
Okay.
And you knew. So was your master's degree specifically in financial planning?
Yeah, kind of my trajectory was I graduated in 03 from ASU.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately started working for a small private mutual fund company.
Okay.
I was 23 years old, but I looked like I was about 17, so not a whole lot of people wanted to give me their money to manage, or didn't, here's some punk college kid that probably doesn't know a whole lot about finance.
Gotcha.
So I immediately started the CFP program, which is Certified Financial Planner.
Okay.
To try and give myself some accreditation, and just wanted to learn the business as best as I could. Not to mention, I wasn't overly busy because I didn't have any clients. So I had time to, and the only thing I knew how to do was study well. So I pursued my CFP. I changed to a different firm that was better suited, to help me grow and learn the business. And then about 5 years later, I ended up finishing that CFP. I'd taken a break from it. And at that point, I started my CFA, which is Chartered Financial Analyst.
Okay.
And at the same time, I concurrently did my master's program.
Wow.
So I had been in the business for 03 to 2009. So I had already been in the business for 6.
Okay. And how old are you now?
I am 37.
Okay. I would have guessed probably 33, 34.
Okay.
Would be my guess. And so then you got all those distinctions when you were around 30, if I'm doing my math right?
So I finished the CFP in 09. So that would have been 28.
Okay.
And I immediately started the CFA. That took me 5 years. So yeah, 33. And
Okay.
I finished my master's a few years before the CFA.
Got it. What are some of your favorite success stories from your entire career so far?
It's more generalized. I mean, every client situation is so unique, but having a client set a goal, putting a plan into place, and then executing on the plan and having it come to fruition. And, a lot of those goals aren't 100% complete. Clients stay retired for many years, but by and large, clients that I had in 2005 that 13 years later, the plans have been working. I mean, it's probably the most rewarding part of the business is you actually get to help people. And for one reason or another, people tend to be very introverted when it's not their specialty. And most of our clients, their specialty isn't finance. That's why they hire us. So that's fun to help them get through and navigate things that they either don't have an interest in or aren't very familiar with.
Right. That's quite a long period of time to use to gauge success. Improving someone's life over that long. Do you ever feel like a couple years into it that you have trouble convincing people that over the long run these things are going to work?
Yeah, I mean, in our world or just in corporate America, I mean, we're so instantaneous. We want instantaneous gratification. Companies report their earnings every 90 days. I mean, if you're Pepsi or something, you're not making your plans for the business on a 90-day basis. You're thinking over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, how you run a business. And if you're thinking about your retirement and you're 55 and you're going to retire in 5 years and you're going to live to 90 or 95, that's a 40-year window. It's definitely hard to get people to take longer term perspectives. With the longer that they are clients, though, that eases. People tend to get more comfortable after there's more tenure with the relationship. And so you have some time dependency on when you become a client. You know, if you retire right before the global financial crisis, you have such a different experience than somebody that, inherited money in 2009, right at the bottom of the markets, and everything's been rosy since then.
Definitely.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. What is some general business advice that you would have for really any up-and-coming business people?
I don't know about you. Do you ever watch The Prophet?
I have seen it at least once.
People process. So my advice would be, one, to be patient for younger entrepreneurs or people that are just graduating, getting their first job or second job. Is it takes time, and the longer you do something, the better you'll get at it, and the more successful you'll become at it, and then it does start to feed itself. So both patience and perseverance, I think, is very important. Get really good at your craft. Whatever it is, for me, I was always driven to be the best at what I was doing, and that's partly what led me to do the designations or pursue those that I did. Become educated, knowledgeable. Don't try and do everything. I think a lot of times we want to do more than what we're asked to do, and if you just spend your time getting really good at what you're asked to do, that can go a long ways as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that into account for myself. Patience and perseverance. It's a little challenging, to convince myself that I'm being patient when I'm only a few years into the whole professional world.
Yeah.
So you never really know how much patience is enough, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it's different for every person and every endeavor. One business opportunity, some things don't work out. It's okay to say, you know what, this wasn't the right deal, or I got into it with the best intentions. In finance, they call that Bayesian analysis. So you constantly want to update, is this still the right situation? Am I still, so self-reflection, I guess, would be part of that, but not too often. I don't know. So clear as mud, right?
Interesting. Yeah, don't worry about it too much, you're saying.
Don't worry about it too much, but don't just stick your head in the sand and say, oh, it'll get better tomorrow. I mean, put a plan in place. These are the things that I need to improve on, or these are the things that we want the business to achieve, and break it up into smaller pieces that say, if I do this, that'll allow me to do this, which will make the business better and grow. So trying to reverse engineer and make not a big giant, you eat the elephant one bite at a time, so to speak. I guess lastly, I would say advice, be true to yourself, be honest, ethical, if you're in business, present products and services that you would want if you were on the other side of the table. I think that goes a long ways, and probably the one thing that's missing from most people is follow-up. If you say you're going to call somebody on Tuesday, call them Tuesday morning, not on Wednesday morning. I know about me, when I leave any appointment, they say they're going to do something, I'm sitting there looking at the clock like, They said they were gonna call. They said they were gonna send me that piece of paper. They were gonna give me that quote. You know what I mean? People are anxious. It goes back to the instant gratification. We want things instantaneously. So when we're waiting on things, it drives people up the wall.
Yeah.
So if you can be over communicative and diligent about following up with people and executing on what you said you'll do, business will come. It'll just come. It'll be more fruitful than you can imagine.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for all this advice. Really great answers, and I appreciate you sitting down with us and for your time.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, William.
You're welcome. Thank you.